Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Michael Fletcher, and welcome to a very special edition of the Bulls Corner. I don't believe we're going to have Anthony Floyo here tonight. If he does join us, then we'll give him his thoughts on the game. But Chicago, ugh. All right, it went good for 3 quarters. Everything looked like it was a back and forth battle. That fourth quarter that's going to give us a migraine headache. I mean, if you're a Bulls fan, you're absolutely furious. You're angry. A lot of things happened in that game. There's a lot of ways that you can spin this. One, a lot of calls that went against Chicago. It looked like, especially in the fourth quarter, the referees were definitely on the side of the Celtics. It looks like we were playing 8-on-5, for heaven's sakes. A 3-second call. Butler gets pushed out of the way. Clear screen foul. Offensive foul on Kelly Olynyk does not even get called. Just so many different things. Then after, I guess, an and one, Butler just, yelling at the referees, gets teed up. I mean, Chicago just imploded in the fourth. So let's just dive right in. Let's talk about this game. Game 5, Eastern Conference first round series, Boston Celtics, Chicago Bulls. Boston wins the game. They got the 3-2 series lead. 108-97 was the final score. And it started off really, Chicago jumped out early. They had an early lead, got up to about 12-6. Then Boston made a little bit of a charge, started draining threes. They took a lot of threes in the first quarter. I think there was like 7 or 8 they missed in a row. And then they finally got a couple of them to go. After one, it was 23-20 Boston. Second quarter, back and forth. Neither team really established a big lead. I mean, the largest lead in the quarter was basically 4 points by Boston. Basically, Chicago kept it tight, kept it fighting, real close battle. At halftime, it was 52-50. Boston had the lead. Third quarter, again, back and forth battle. Neither team really could break free here. It was just a great battle. Key shots, 3-pointers, whatever the case may be. Both teams just really played great. And then Jimmy Butler hits a 3-pointer at the buzzer. That gave Chicago the lead, 81-79. Chicago was ahead, and they won the third quarter, 31-27. And then in the fourth, everything just went wrong. Started off where Boston tied the game. Then it went into basically a battle where at one point Chicago was up 85-84. And then that's when the wheels literally came off. After that, it was 85-84. Then Boston hits the next 7, went on a 7-0 run. They take the lead 91-85. Then Chicago came right back, got it to about 2, got it to 91-89 situation. And then Boston went on another massive run. Then basically went on, looks like a 14-0 run. That gave them a 103-89, a 104-89 lead. And that was basically, it was ball game after that. That was basically Chicago just unraveled at that point. Basically, mistakes were being made. There was some questionable calls by the referees. Like I said, that happened. And basically, Boston was making all their key plays. They were hitting key shots. And yeah, it was definitely a disaster. 29-16 in the fourth quarter, advantage Boston. They win the game by the final score of 108-97. Like I said, they have the 3-2 series lead. Now we go to Chicago for game 6, and Chicago has to win that game or else the series is over. Normally, Anthony does this, so I'm just going to hit you with some of the key stats of the game just to settle everything down. Avery, Avery Bradley had 24 points. Isaiah Thomas had 24 points. Al Horford, 21 points. Kelly Olynyk, 14 points off the bench. Those are the high guys for Boston. For Chicago, Dwayne Wade was the high guy with 26 points. Isaiah Cannon came in at 13 points. Jimmy Butler had a good game at 14 points. And Robin Lopez, what a game he had tonight. Definitely was one of the big bright spots for Chicago with 14 points, 6 rebounds as well. But like I said, everything was going good for the 3 quarters, and then that fourth quarter, everything just fell apart for Chicago. And like I said, I don't. It could have been from defensive lapses because there was a lot of turnovers Chicago committed to the stupid referees, basically giving the game to Boston, and I'm calling it like that because that's the way I feel. I know Eric Carrier was like, man, there was a 6-second call. There was a questionable 3-second call. He's like, the guy was in the lane for 6 seconds. You wouldn't be saying this if this was the Boston Celtics, Carrier. If all these calls were going to Chicago, you would be ripping them right now on social media saying how the referees were a freaking joke. All of a sudden, now that the Celtics were winning tonight, we didn't hear crap from you the whole night. So don't give me that garbage. Just to give you some of the stats of the game, just briefly. Chicago shot about 50% from the field, so they had a good shooting night. 3-point, they were 9 for 26, 14 of 17 from free throws, 42 rebounds, which they actually did win that battle over Boston again. Assist was almost even. Boston had a slight advantage, 20. They had a slight advantage, which was 27-24. But Chicago killed themselves on the turnovers, committing 16 turnovers to Boston 6. That's basically that's the biggest discrepancy of the entire night. Basically, because Chicago was better free throw shooting, they were better in 3-point range, and unfortunately, like I said, about the referees, Chicago went to the line 17 times. Boston went to the line 23 times. How do you win a game when you commit 16 turnovers and Boston goes to the line 23 times? I mean, honestly, do you even want me to go there? Chicago, the way I see it was the referees let them play for 3 quarters and then gave Boston everything they wanted. Like they were the Republican Party, for God's sakes. I mean, what do you want us to do, huh? Anthony Florio has just come in. Florio, just go. Just save me right now.
Is that the worst officiating you ever saw, Michael Fletcher?
That was a freaking joke. A freaking joke. I want to say something else, but I won't.
Fucking bullshit, man. Are you fucking kidding me? Give me a goddamn break. It's not often I do this, but I'm sorry. I got to go 1997 Bret Hart here. I mean, they turned the goddamn blind eye, Michael Fletcher. That's all there is to it. They turned the damn blind eye. Do I have to do anything else? I mean, what did David Stern pop in there and do something about it? That's all there is to say. I mean, everybody praises about Adam Silver and how he's a wonderful commissioner. Well, yeah, that's fine and all, but what about David Stern? I mean, it's almost like the ghost of David Stern came back, or for crying out loud. Oh, good God Almighty! But, I mean, I agree. First 3 quarters, everything was wonderful, and then in that fourth, I mean, now you wonder and you remember 3 years ago where I had the sour grapes about I was blaming Gary Thorne and crooked officiating as the reasons why the Los Angeles Kings won the Stanley Cup over our New York Rangers. And I still feel that way. I really do. forgive and forget. Well, I'm not forgiving until justice is served for that, which, let's face it, will never happen. But absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, you remember that Monday Night Raw when Bret Hart went off? That's how I feel right now, honestly. I just wish I had a Vince McMahon in front of me so I could just shove him down. Well, that's all there is to say on that. So, all right. When it comes to my 3 stars of the game, since the Celtics won, I'll have to give it to Horford again. He was my number 1 star with the 21, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Number 2 star, no doubt about it, Dwayne Wade. I mean, if Chicago had won, which they should have, 26, 11 rebounds and 8 assists. That was a vintage Dwayne Wade game. I mean, we've been waiting for that for a while. And then rounding out the top 3, I'll have to give it to Avery Bradley. I mean, Avery Bradley with 24 and 6 rebounds and an assist. So, and I do apologize for the obscenities there. I mean, it's not often that we do that, but you know, when I mean, it's like I always say, there's only so much a man can take before he's pushed over the edge. And after what we saw tonight, that's the push over the edge we needed. And when a man is pushed over the edge, well, it's trouble. Big trouble. And that's all there is to say on that. Let's be forewarned, the Chicago Bulls are coming to play in Game 6 on Friday night. It's as simple as that. And, well, that's it. So just wanted to get that off my chest fast. Okay, so I gave you my 3 stars. I mean, I think we pretty much ran down the numbers here. 50% by the Bulls, like MF said, that's fine. Well, they outshot Boston 43.2%. 3-point shooting, Celtics 9 out of 40, 22.5%. The Bulls were 9 out of 26, 34.6. Free throw shooting, 14 out of 17 for the Bulls, 82.4%. And then the other free throws, the Celtics perfect, 100%, 23 out of 23. Rebounding edge, still Chicago's advantage, 42-38. And the assists that went to the Celtics, 27-24. Turnovers, Bulls committed 16 turnovers. Celtics only committed 6. Steals, 9-4 in favor of the Celtics. 5-3, the block shots in favor of the Bulls. And then the fouls, Bulls committed 21, Celtics committed 16. And yeah, major discrepancies all around. Technical fouls, Dwayne Wade and Robin Lopez each committed 1. That was pretty much the downfall right there. So, yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to say on that. Those are all the numbers right there. I mean, it's not often we get fired up about things like this, but unfortunately, when acts of injustice go down, that's almost always the spark. All it takes is one little spark to push a man over the edge. That crooked refereeing crew tonight, who ought to be ashamed of themselves and better look in the mirror and realize what you've done. So you opened up a Pandora's box. That's all there is to say on that. So great googly moogly. That's all there is to say on that. So and that's one of the reasons why I was a little bit late coming in. I mean, I was even more upset than MF was, but you know me and you know me, being the man of the Lord that I am, I tried my best to counteract that, but that spark just got lit. So if I offended anybody, I do apologize for that. But at the same time, I'm not sorry. I wanted to go off on that rant. I wanted to get that off my chest. And Michael Fletcher, I mean, thank you very much for giving me the platform to do it. I appreciate it. So let me just say it like this. There's no such thing as home court advantage anymore. So let me just say it like this to the Celtics there. Friday night, you better finish Chicago off, because if you don't, we got your ass in Game 7. Period. And a quotation and a statement. MF, wrap it up before I really lose my mind.
One big saving grace is that we're actually hearing that Rondo will play in Game 6. And if you remember, in the first 2 games, Rondo was in there, and they dominated. Chicago dominated. So who knows? Maybe that might be the spark we need. But because, oh man, I mean, and it's funny because the whole time we've heard nothing from the Celtic fans. The first 2 games, they were complaining about how their team stinks and this and that and the whole 9 yards. And then the shoe hit the other foot when Chicago was losing and everything else. Tonight, Bulls fans are really upset, and they are rightfully so because of the refereeing. And yet, you didn't hear a peep from Celtic fans. I wonder if the shoe was on the other foot and this happened to Chicago, and if Chicago would have won in this fashion, how many of the Celtics fans would be chirping right now? So that's why my mind is blown beyond belief. But whatever. Game 6 is Friday night. Chicago has to win it. If they don't win it, the season's over. If they do win it, Sunday is Game 7 back in Boston. Plain and simple, Chicago. It's either you want it or you don't. This is our moment. Our backs are up against the wall. We have to fight. That's all that matters. Because at this point, screw the referees. We're going to have to do this on our own and win it. Because Boston's already thinking, we got this done. We've pulled off a miraculous escape now. Everything's clicking on their side. And now we're the ones that have to fight. All right. Game on. We'll see you in Game 6. Ranger Roundup tomorrow night, right here on this channel, as we recap the Rangers versus the Senators. Until then, for Anthony Foyle, I'm Mike Fletcher. Good night.